Okay, so this is the session. So this is a session on a loop. We have to discuss loops in Java. Loop are statements which are used to repeat a set of statements certain number of times. Many times while solving a problem, we have to iterate or repeat a certain set of statements certain number of times to get a result. For example, when we want to calculate factorial of a number, then we have to repeat certain times the multiplication of a number from 1 to n. Suppose we have to print 10 times the name of a person, then instead of printing one by one, we can use loop and it will solve our problem. So there are three types of loops in Java, and in many programming languages we have these three types of loops, even in C and C++. There's one more type of loop in Java, and that is for each loop that we will cover in for loop itself. So there is a while loop, there is a do while loop, and there is a for loop. A while loop is called a pre-tested because the condition is checked before the loop statement is executed, and do while loop is called post-tested. As first the statements are executed and then the condition is checked. We'll see both of them with examples to understand the concept of loop. I'll show you some diagram also so that you can understand the thing better. The while loop is repeated while the loop condition is true. So how do we write it? Let us see the syntax. We write it this way: while, and then we give a condition I is less than equals to 100. This means that whenever the condition will be true, then the statements within this bracket will be executed. All statements within this bracket will be executed until this condition is true. So diagrammatically, you can understand we have to initialize the variable. So we have to say where what is the initial value of I. So initial value of I can be 1. So if we say that the initial value of I is 1, that means that it will start from 1 and it will go up to 100. And if we say that the initial value of I is 10, then it will start from 10 and it will go till 100. And then there is an expression that is also called the condition. And then there is the body of the loop. This is the body of the loop. And if this condition is false, then it comes outside of the loop. The statements outside the loop will be executed when the condition becomes false. When the condition is true, the statements within the body of the loops are executed. And within the body of the loop, we have to use one more statement, that is the incremented value of I, so that starting from 10 or starting from 1, we can reach 100. If we do not use this increment value, then this loop will become an infinite loop because the value will never reach to the maximum value which is mentioned in the statement in the condition. So the increment can be by 1. So if the increment is by 1, we can write I plus plus. The increment can be by 10. So in that case, we can write I is equals to I plus I is equals to I plus 10. So in this case, each time the loop is executed and the value of I will be incremented by 10. So this is how we execute the statement. This is the theory. So what we have to know about the loop in Java is that, first of all, there are three types of loop: the while loop, the do while loop, and the for loop. In the while loop, as I can show you here, first the condition is checked, and if the condition is found to be correct, then only the statements within the loop are executed. If the statements are when the condition becomes false, then the statement outside the loop will be executed. If first time only the condition becomes false, suppose we initialize it with 110, then what will happen? 110 is less than 100. No, the condition is false. Then it will not enter the loop itself. That is why it is called a pre-tested loop. Why this is a pre-tested loop? Because the statements within the loop is getting executed only and only when the condition is true. So usually we start with the value 1 and then we want to reach up to the maximum number of times these statements have to be repeated. So we'll come to see some examples so that we can understand it better. But diagrammatically, we can understand that we have to initialize the variable, then we have to test the value of the variable, and if the condition is true, then the statements within the loop will be executed, and it will keep on repeating until the expression has the value true. When the expression with the value false, it will come outside the loop. Now, let us come to the coding part. And in the code, we'll try to understand how to execute these statements. So this is the first example of loop. This is already written, and this is to print from 1 to 10. So we start with public class loop example. This is the name of the program, and then we have a main as usual. And here is the initial value from where we have to start. So this is the initialization of the loop variable from where we have to start. Then here is the condition or the expression or condition. So this is the expression or the condition. When this condition is true, these statements are the loop body statements. These statements will be executed. So in this case, we are starting from 1 and the final value is 5. That means first time the value of I will be 1 is less than 5. The condition will be true, so it will print 1. And I plus plus will make it 2. So again, it will come back to the loop. 2 is less than 5, yes, so it will print 2. Then I will become 3. So it will come back to the condition. It is again 3 is less than 5, condition is true. Then it becomes 4, 4 is less than 5, condition is true. Each time the value of I is getting printed. Next time the value will be 5. So 5 is equals to 5, the value of I will be printed. And now I plus plus will make it 6. So when the value of I becomes 6, then this condition will be false and it will come outside the loop. So this is the increment value. So in a loop, 3 statements are very important. From where we have to start, that is called the initial value, then the expression or the condition, which will say how many times this is, the loop statements, the statements within the body of the loop will be executed, and then we have the increment value, how many times how the value will be incremented each time. So in this case, it is incremented by 1. Now let us try to run this program. So I'll click here to see the output. And as you can see, it is printing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Each time it is printing by 1. Now suppose I make it 3, and instead of the value of I am printing hello user. So what will happen? It will print hello user 3 times. It will start with 1. First time it will print hello user. Then the value will be incremented by 1. Then it will become 2. But 2 is less than 3. Again, the value of hello user will be printed. I becomes 3. 3 is equals to 3. Then again, the value hello user will be printed. I becomes 4. Now, when the value of I becomes 4, then it will come out. And suppose when it comes out, we want to print thank you. So we'll write system.out.println. And here we'll say thank you. So this is the statement that will only be executed when the statements with this condition becomes false and the control comes outside the loop. Now when we will execute this program, it will print hello user 3 times and then it will print thank you user. Now let us see. Yeah. See here, it is printing hello user 3 times and then it is printing thank you user. So this statement is getting executed only when it is coming out. Now suppose we initialize it with 10. Now what will happen? The value of I is 10. So first time itself 10 is less than 3, this condition will become false. So it will not enter the loop. It will just come outside the loop and it will only print thank you user. So now if I execute the same program, See, you are getting only the output as thank you user. This is the output that is coming. And why this output is coming as thank you user? Because the initial value is 10. Suppose we make it 3, then what will happen? 3 is equals to 3, condition is true. It will print hello user. Then it will print I plus plus will make it 4. 4 is less than 3, condition false, it will come out. So it will print hello user once and then it will print thank you user. So if we execute this program, it will print hello user once and then it will print thank you user. So this is how we control the loop statement by 3 positions. First is the initialization, where we have to start. This we have to understand. Then we have to check the condition, how many times we want to execute this loop, and then we have to make the increment. Now the same program, if we want to do it with the help of do while, then what we have to do, I'll show it here only. I'll take this condition from the start and I'll put it at the end. So it becomes the do while loop, and now we start with a do statement. So a do statement is very much similar to the while statement, only the thing is that the condition is checked at the end. And when we check at the end, we have to give a semicolon. In the while statement, we do not give semicolon, but in the do while statement, we give semicolon. Now what will happen? Suppose we want to start from 1. So first time the value of I is 1, it will enter the loop, print hello user, I becomes 2, 2 is less than 3, yes, it will again go back to the loop, hello user, I becomes 3, 3 is equals to 3, yes, it will go back to the loop, print hello user third time, then I becomes 4, 4 is less than 3, condition is false, and it will come outside the loop and print thank you. So it will have the same output, exactly same output that we had with the while loop. It will also print hello user 3 times and then it will print thank you. Let us see. So it is printing hello user and thank you. Now what is the difference between the while loop and the do while loop? Because the output is same, exactly similar output. Now let us check it with initial value as 10. Now what happens in do while loop is when we start with the initial value as 10. So here also it will first print the hello user, I becomes 3, then the condition becomes false. So what will happen? Even when the condition is false the very first time, the statements within the loop body are executed. So in do while loop, at least once the statement will be executed irrespective of the condition getting true or false. That is why it is called post-tested loop. We do the testing of the condition at the end. That is why it is called post-tested loop. And here we are not checking the condition at the beginning, we are checking the condition at the end. So this is a post-tested condition and the while loop is a pre-tested condition. So this is how we do the loop statement. I'm pausing it here for 1 minute just to all of you go through this program that is written, and then we'll continue. Okay, so welcome back. I'll try to write another program in while, and then we'll do the same program in do while. So we have another program in while loop, and this is already written program. Here, what we are doing, we are taking the value of n from the user. So when we run the program, it will first ask how many times we have to print, and then it will print that many times. So the value of n is not fixed. It is not 10, it is not 100, it is not 3, but it is n. So n is a variable, and the value of this variable will be taken from the user. So if the user wants to run this program 5 times, he will enter 5. If he wants to print this 50 times, he will enter the value of n as 50. So I'll first run the program. Suppose I write 5, so it is printing 5. I'll run this program once more. Suppose I enter 3, so it will print 3 times. I run it again. And suppose once we run this program, we enter the value as, suppose we enter the value as 30. So it will print 30 times. So this is how this program is getting executed. Now to make it a do while statement, see what we are doing. We are taking this statement from here, and here we will mention do, and then we'll come at the bottom and we'll mention while. So now this becomes a do while loop program. The same program becomes a do while loop program when we type while at the end, and when we start it from with while, it becomes a while loop. Now I'll run the program. It is asking for the value of n. I'm given 4, so it is printing 4 times. So same output will come every time. This is how we write a while loop program as well as a do while loop. Now let us take another example to print the table of a number. Print table of a number. That means we'll ask the user to enter the number. Suppose it is 5, so it will print 5, 10, 15, that way. So enter the value of number, and we want the value. Each time the value will be incremented. First we'll do it with while loop. And how many times we want to print? We want to print it 10 times. And what will be printed? P is equals to n number into I. So first time the number will be 5. 5 into 1 will be 5. It will print 5. And I will be incremented to 2. Next time when it comes, 2 is less than 10. So 5, the value of n is constant, I is getting incremented. So next time it will be 5 into 2, that will be printed. Then I becomes 3, so it will print 5 into 3, that will be printed. Then 5 into 4, that will be printed, and it will be printed 10 times. So I'll run the program. It is asking for a number. I enter 5, so it is printing the value. You can see 5, 10, 15 up to 50. If I enter another, coming back to the program. Now again we'll run this program, and we enter the value as 10. So it is printing the table of 10. So what is happening here? We are asking the user to enter a number, we are taking the number from the user and then we are repeating it 10 times starting from 1. Each time the number is being multiplied by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up 10 times, and then the value of t is getting printed. Now to make it a do while loop program, what we do, we cut from here and now I'll paste it at the bottom, the while loop. So it becomes the do while loop program. I'll run this again. I'll enter the value of 4. So it will print the table of 4. So this is how we use the loop in our programs, the while loop and the do while loop similarly. So we have to enter a number, we take the number from the user, then we print it and then we get the result. This is how we use loop in our program. Then there can be n number of situations where we use a loop. I will show one more example. Let us see the program of to print the factorial of number maybe. So this is a program where we print the factorial of a number. We accept the number from the user and then we are using s to store the value, and the factorial of how we calculate. Suppose factorial of 5 is equals to 1 into 2 into 3 into 4 into 5. So what we are doing, if the value of n is 5, first time it will be storing 5 into 1, then it will be storing 5 into 1 into 2, then 5 into 1 into 2 into 3, then into 4 into 5, and the value of the factorial is getting stored in the variable s, and finally when we are coming out of the loop we are printing it. So in this program, if the number is 5, it will print the factorial of 5. So now let us run this program. It is asking for number 4, which is 4 into 3 into 2 into 1, or 1 into 2 into 3 into 4, that is coming as 24. Now if we want to make it a do while loop, what we do, we take it from here and we print it here. That's it. Now we'll run the program. They're asking, we enter the same number and we are getting the same result. So any program that needs some repetition of a statement, we can use loop, and whatever we write it with while loop can also be written using do while loop. Only we have to follow the syntax. We have to understand that in do while loop we have to end it with semicolon. In while loop we do not have to end with semicolon. So this is what is in this session. We'll continue from here in the coming session and try to understand more concepts of loop. Until then, try to practice. Thank you very much.